Welcome back to Warriors News Fan Report. Tonight, we're diving into the latest shockwave rocking the Bay Area. Jonathan Kuminga, one of the brightest young forwards in the NBA, might be packing his bags for Brooklyn this summer. Yes, you heard me right. Rumors have swirled for months that the Nets covet Kuminga's unique blend of athleticism and scoring punch, but a fresh Ringer report by Logan Murdoch seems to have kicked this speculation into overdrive. Let's break down why it could actually happen, and I'll even share my hot take as a die-hard Lakers fan who's secretly rooting for any move that tests Golden State's depth. First, let's recap the facts. Kuminga, just 22 years old, has been one of the few bright spots for Golden State in this grueling second-round series against Minnesota, averaging nearly 24 points, 4 rebounds, and almost 2 assists over the last 3 games. His season averages 15.3 points, 4.6 rebounds, 2.2 assists, already showcased a budding star. Yet, despite that growth, his role has been squeezed ever since the Warriors dealt for Jimmy Butler. The fit between Butler, Curry, and Kuminga has been awkward at best. Spacing issues and overlapping shot charts forced Kerr to limit Kuminga's minutes down the stretch. Combine that with a looming salary crunch, Golden State is locked into over $130 million for Curry, Draymond Green, and Butler next season, and you begin to see why Kuminga's name keeps surfacing in trade chatter. As a restricted free agent, he'll command a significant rookie-scale extension that the Warriors simply might not be able to afford if they aim to remain championship contenders. Suddenly, that bright young talent becomes a luxury too expensive to keep. Now, here's the kicker from Murdoch's report. The coaching staff reportedly grew frustrated with Kuminga's decision-making at times, accusing him of looking away from Curry to manufacture his own shot during late-season matchups. Those alleged lapses culminated in a pair of DNP coaches' decision listings to close out the regular season and even in the play-in game against Memphis. Rumors suggest Kerr's patience may have worn thin, and whispers around the locker room question whether Kuminga has played his last minute in Warriors blue. Enter the Brooklyn Nets, a franchise in the early throes of a bold youth rebuild. They've stockpiled cap space, they boast young pieces like Cam Thomas, Cam Johnson, and a treasure trove of draft assets. Kuminga, a high-flying forward who can guard multiple positions, would slot seamlessly into their timeline. He'd go from a limited bench role in Golden State to a featured spot in BK, where he could thrive as a secondary creator alongside Thomas's scoring and potentially pair with a veteran combo guard in free agency. From a Lakers fan's perspective, yes, I confess, I can't help but smile at the thought. The more Warriors' depth is drained, the better for LA. If Kuminga heads east, Golden State loses one of its top two-way perimeter options. Imagine the series where they can't turn to Kuminga to plug holes when Curry sits. As a Lakers supporter, I want the competition in the West to remain fierce, but I'd relish seeing the Dubs scramble to fill that gap. Could this move really happen? The Nets have reportedly led the charge for months, and now that Murdoch's story has dropped, I'd be shocked if Brooklyn didn't test the Warriors' price tag. Golden State could demand a haul, perhaps a first-rounder plus a wing, like Andrew Wiggins or a veteran like Chris Paul wrapped into the deal. But the writing's on the wall. If the Warriors want to keep their big three intact, they may have to sacrifice Kuminga's upside. Stay tuned to Warriors News Fan Report, because in just a few days we may see official smoke rising from San Francisco, smoke that signals the end of Kuminga's stint with the Splash Brothers. Meantime, keep refreshing those trade trackers because this summer is poised to be one of the most seismic off-seasons in recent memory. Since the Nets reportedly have the cap space to offer Kuminga a 4-year, $120 million extension, complete. With a player option in year 3, the financial incentive alone is huge. Brooklyn's front office could tempt the Warriors with a protected 2026 first-round pick, a 2028 first-rounder swap, and perhaps a young rotation player like Royce O'Neal or Cam Johnson to sweeten the pot. On San Francisco's side, the calculus is brutal. Do you sacrifice long-term upside to immediately shore up the cap sheet and keep Curry, Green, and Butler happy? Or do you stand firm, retaining Kuminga's high-ceiling talent at the risk of losing continuity among your leaders? Imagine a final tipping point discussion in the Chase Center offices. Steve Kerr, Bob Myers, and Joe Lacob sitting across from Nets GM Sean Marks, hammering out the contours of a deal that could reshape both franchises. The Warriors could ask for a future first, an athletic wing to replace Kuminga's flexibility on defense, and an expiring contract to manage the books. In return, the Nets would secure a budding superstar whose explosive highlights would light. You tee up Barclays Center, while Golden State refocuses on maximally leveraging its established stars. For Jonathan Kuminga, the change of scenery might be exactly what he needs. In Brooklyn, he wouldn't be buried in a veteran-heavy rotation. He'd step into a roster still seeking its identity and immediately become one of the primary building blocks. He could develop under coach Jacques Vaughn, play high-tempo offense, and showcase his elite slashing and defensive versatility every night. At 22, he'd still be one of the youngest key contributors on the Nets, insulating him from the squeeze. He faced behind Butler in Golden State. On the flip side, the Warriors would have to adapt quickly. Losing Kuminga's transition threat and defensive switching chops would demand strategic adjustments. Kerr might lean harder on Draymond's shot-blocking prowess. Draymond's rim protection partner, Kevon Looney, would see more minutes, and depth players like Moses Moody and Jonathan Holmes would be called upon to absorb some of Kuminga's vacated role. Offensively, the Dubs might incorporate more motion sets to manufacture mismatches for Poole and Wiggins, compensating for the athletic burst Kuminga provided. As a lifelong Lakers fan, yes, I admit bias, I'd relish seeing the ripple effect. The Western Conference suddenly becomes less top-heavy. Without Kuminga, Golden State's lineup loses an X-factor who could disrupt Lakers' game plans with his length and finishing. Meanwhile, the Lakers could view the Warriors' cap reshuffle as an opportunity. If Golden State moves Kuminga and takes back an expiring contract, they free up short-term payroll but also might lose their last scalable rotation piece, making them more vulnerable to a healthy LA conceded squad. Yet, in true NBA fashion, nothing is certain until the ink dries. Perhaps the Warriors will decide that Kuminga's rare blend of youth and two-way impact is worth squeezing the cap to retain, opting instead to trade Wiggins or move an aging veteran to create the necessary space. Or maybe they'll strike, a blockbuster that brings in a ready-made wing whose strengths complement Curry and Butler in new, unexplored ways. Whatever the outcome, one thing is clear. Jonathan Kuminga's time in Golden State hangs by a thread, and the Nets appear poised to be his landing spot. The chess match between franchises, the strategic roster gymnastics, and the human drama of a young star literally outgrowing his rookie home. That's the kind of NBA narrative we live for. For Golden State, the decision will also be a statement about their long-term vision. If they value Kuminga's athletic upside as the face of their post-Curry era, they may swallow the cap hit and pursue creative extensions elsewhere. But if they view the championship window as closing, they'll likely opt to shed salary and maximize the return. Every front office mind is crunching the same numbers: playoff resilience versus future upside. Meanwhile, fans on both coasts are already speculating about the fit. In San Francisco, social media is ablaze with "Keep Kuminga, please," countered by voices arguing that Curry's prime is the priority. In Brooklyn, Nets supporters can't wait to imagine the high-flying alley-oops and defensive disruption Kuminga would bring. The fervor on X and Instagram underscores the human side of these moves: real people, real passion, torn between loyalty and optimism. From a locker room standpoint, the move could reshape team chemistry overnight. In Golden State, trading Kuminga could create an emotional void, forcing veterans like Draymond Green to shoulder a mentoring role for younger players stepping into his minutes. Conversely, in Brooklyn, A fresh face with a chip on his shoulder could galvanize a roster hungry to prove critics wrong. The intangible boost of a determined young star embracing a new challenge can't be overstated. Analysts will also closely watch how this impacts lineup construction. Without Kuminga, Kerr may lean into smaller, more versatile lineups, mixing high-percentage shooters around Curry and Butler. In Brooklyn, coach Jacques Vaughn could experiment with hyper-athletic defensive packages, inserting Kuminga on the second unit to ignite bench runs, while leveraging his length at the wing in closing lineups. Each coach's schematic chess moves will reveal their broader strategic philosophies. Stay tuned. Warriors News Fan Report will be the first to bring you the official word, the reaction from the locker rooms, and the immediate on-court fallout. Once this blockbuster potentially goes down, whether Kuminga remains the next Splash Brother or embarks on his journey in Brooklyn, the ripple effects will be felt across the entire league. It's a seismic shift in the making, and we wouldn't miss a second of it for the world.